Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Summer 2025 Mastermind. I'm really excited to mastermind with you. Thanks for joining us. You might be asking, what's a mastermind? Oh, very good question. A mastermind is a time that like-minded people come together to master something together, master content. So what we're going to do is actually kind of going to be like a book club on steroids, because we're going to master the new book, Winners Are Quitters, The Art of Thinking Differently. Have you bought your book yet? If you haven't bought the book, definitely go to the show notes and click on the link to purchase your book, because every week we're going to have a different assignment, a different number of chapters to read. And when I come back together with you, I'm going to dig into the content even a little deeper. We're going to maybe even ask some questions that aren't in the book to help relate and apply the content to your life. So thank you for joining us. I hope that you come back every single week and even go back and listen to the old episodes if you missed any. I'm excited to learn and grow with you. Welcome back. Today we're masterminding Chapter 8. People are different. In case you didn't already know that, I thought I would definitely make sure that you are well aware. People are different. This chapter here has been the most popular and most favorite chapter amongst my readers. To be honest, it kind of surprises me because I don't know why. I mean, people are different. But the more I dig in, the more I talk to people, it's because I do share somewhat of an intimate or personal story regarding my marriage, my perfect marriage. The whole chapter starts about fairy tales, right? And then there's Prince John, who married Princess Kathy. And yeah, fun little story, but it's real. It's real. And this wasn't something that happened 30 years ago. We've been married 31 years. This is something that happened probably, 2 years ago. A year ago. It happens a lot because we're people and we are different. So I have some questions for you. I have some, maybe challenging questions just to help you kind of dig in a little deeper on your relationships, your people relationships. So question number 1, how do you respond to conflict? Fight or flight? And actually, it's not just 2 options anymore. It's 5. There's 5 options. There's fight, there's flight, there's freeze, and then there's fawn and flop. So real quick, fight means, our fists come up. Maybe not physically, but if we're in a conflict or a relational communication conflict, we might be ready to go to bat, right? Then there's flight, where we run away. I don't want to have that conversation. I'm going to avoid it. Then there's freeze. And that's where I know for me, my brain just can't even think. I probably look like I'm frozen. My face is just frozen. My brain is frozen. I can't do anything. Now, fawn is a newer option. And fawn means that you kind of cater to whoever you're in conflict with. Maybe you compliment them. Maybe you build them up. You're fawning at that point. And then finally there's flop. I mean, think about it, like flopping on the ground. Just flop, dead weight, flop. So how do you respond to conflict? How also then does this response, how does it affect your communication? For me, fight. Let's just talk about that first one. I'm not afraid to fight. And especially with my husband, since that's what Chapter 8 is about, is my relationship with my husband. When he says something, or when we get into a very heated communication, I'm ready. I'm ready to come right back. However, he always wins. He can come back quicker. He has he just has the right thing to say. Later on, when I really reflect on it, it's really not the right thing to say. And it really might be off track or off topic, but it gets me off topic. So, how does this affect my communication? Well, We don't communicate well. If all we're doing is fighting, we're not truly communicating. If you're flighting, if you're leaving, if you're running away from it, well, there again is no communication. Freezing, fawning, flopping, all of this totally affects our communication and the results that we're hoping for. So take time to reflect and take time to just pay attention. Pay attention to your conversations, your communications, your conflicts, and what do you do? What does it look like? Maybe it's different for different people in different situations or different environments. Pay attention to it and really, really analyze, how is this affecting my communication? How can I get better? How can I maybe fight against that reaction and for better communication? Okay, question number 2. What tools do you use or could you use to process through your emotions and to reframe your thinking during a disagreement? What tools do you use or could you use when you're in a disagreement? Now, one thing that I definitely talk about in the book and I recommend is to walk away. Walk away, or maybe call for a timeout. If you've ever watched the TV series, How I Met Your Mother, Lily and Marshall have timeouts. And that's not a bad thing to have with really close relationships, whether it's your partner, your spouse, your family members, your parents. Just take a time out, because in all honesty, my brain, even though I'm ready to fight, it cannot think properly during that heated moment. So walk away, take a time out, but have some kind of communication, have some kind of dialogue that explains what you're doing, that you're not just being rude and walking away. Maybe you would say things, maybe you would have some key words like time out, or let's go to a different room. We have a loft in our house, and we've just started to say, let's go to the loft and talk. And that's enough time to walk upstairs, give your brain time to think, give your emotions time to settle. Maybe there is a key word or a key place. Or maybe you say something like, I do want to talk this through, but I need a few minutes to process this first. Can you give me 5 minutes? What's wrong with saying that? Many times I don't feel like I can, but really that doesn't sound very bad. That actually sounds really good. And that's fair. If someone were to say that to me, that's a fair request. Okay, question number 3. By the way, just quick reminder, I hope you have a notebook. I hope you're taking time to write down your answers, or at least write down these questions so that you have time to process through your answers. Even pausing the video, whatever you need to do, but don't just breeze through it. Use this tool, use this to really use the content of the book. Okay, third question that I have for you. What is one relational boundary that you need to create or you need to reinforce for healthier communication? The Bible has a scripture that says, don't let the sun go down with your wrath, or don't let the sun set while you're angry, in other words. So, when we're looking, or when we're thinking through this question here, if we're thinking through that idea of, well, I'm not going to go to bed angry. Well, that's a relational boundary that we need to reinforce, we need to create for healthier communication. It's not easy, definitely not easy to reinforce that. But what else? What else relational boundaries do you have? Like, I'm never going to drive a vehicle after a heated argument. Or I'm not going to have a conversation like this if I've been drinking alcohol. These are examples of some boundaries. So what are yours? What do you need to create, or what do you need to reinforce? All right, question number 4. What stories do you tell yourself? Because we all tell ourselves stories. What stories do you tell yourself during disagreements? So real quick, let's role play, or let's work through a scenario. Let's pretend that you're driving home today from the grocery store or from work, and somebody pulls out in front of you. you're not even a block away from this person and they pull out in front of you. What is the story that you're telling yourself about that driver? You might be showing them a certain appendage. You might be sharing some choice words. Or you might be sighing a big sigh of relief, thinking, oh, okay, cool, we're safe. Thank goodness. So when you think of whether it's this example or a different scenario, a recent disagreement that you've had, did you assume the best or the worst in the other person? What's your habit? With any kind of disagreements, do you assume the best or do you assume the worst in people? Well, how does that affect the outcome? I'll tell you something real quick. Biologically, when you assume the worst, you're releasing cortisol in your brain. That's the stress hormone. We have enough stress hormones in our body that we don't need to create more. When we assume the best, we're releasing serotonin or oxytocin. Is that right? Oxytocin. I think that's right. But anyway, we're releasing good chemicals in our brain. Serotonin is a happy hormone. All because we assume the best versus we assume the worst. So maybe, all is well and there's no accident when you're being pulled out in front of, but there is a biological change in your body that's affecting your brain. If you have too much cortisol, you're going to gain weight, you're going to have headaches, you're going to have a lot of side effects. So what's your norm? And what do you want it to be? Something to consider, something to pay attention to. Okay, next question. I think I'm up to number 5. How does accepting that people are different, how does that free you from unrealistic expectations? Do you have expectations in people? Let's take your kids, or let's take your parents. As a kid, I think my parents should be parents, or they should be well off, meaning they've just got it all together. They're parents. They've already learned the hard way, so they just know how to live life properly. Mom, Dad, I know as you listen to this, I know you've got it all together. That's unrealistic. That's an unrealistic expectation. And if you have that kind of expectation and a disagreement happens, well, that's going to throw everybody for a loop, and you're not even going to allow yourself to process it through with another human being thinking your parents should be perfect. Or your kids, if you're a parent. What unrealistic expectations do you have for your kids? People are different. When we understand that, I know when I understand that, it does free me from stories that I tell myself. So I hope that you enjoyed chapter 8, and I hope you're thinking about people differently. You're thinking about people in a good way. You're not expecting them to be somebody that they're not. You're seeing them for who they are. I really hope that the book and this mastermind, I hope that this is challenging you to think differently, whether it's about your thoughts or your habits. Thank you. Thank you for learning and growing with me. I will see you next week. That's going to be our last mastermind session. So you're almost done. You're almost done with the book. Congratulations. Enjoy the rest. Read the rest of the book, chapter 9 all the way through. There's a few extra little ancillary chapters. So read the rest of the book, and I will see you here next week to finish the mastermind. Be great, my friends. I hope this topic has challenged you to think differently as you strive to grow from success to world class. Please follow this podcast, share it with your friends, and follow me and Unity Consulting on all social platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website, unityconsultingllc.com. I look forward to connecting with you next time to challenge your habits so that you are more efficient and fully empowered.